Let's be honest. If you grew up in the late 90s and had a Nintendo 64, chances are you spent an unhealthy amount of time playing GoldenEye 007. And if you didn't, well, I feel sorry for you. This game wasn't just a hit, it was a revolution. It took the first-person shooter genre, which was mostly limited to PC gaming at the time, and brought it to consoles in a way that had never been done before. But how exactly did GoldenEye 007 change the game? Why is it still talked about today, decades later? Stick around, because by the end of this video you'll see why GoldenEye wasn't just another shooter. It was the shooter that changed everything. Before GoldenEye, the first-person shooter genre was dominated by PC giants like Doom, Quake, and Duke Nukem 3D. These games were fast, brutal, and, for the most part, single-player experiences with some multiplayer thrown in for good measure. But on consoles, FPS games were either non-existent or clunky at best. That all changed in 1997 when Rare, a company mostly known for platformers like Donkey Kong Country and Banjo-Kazooie, released a James Bond game that defied expectations. GoldenEye 007 did something no console shooter had ever truly nailed before. It made shooting feel natural with a controller. Keep in mind, the Nintendo 64 had a single joystick, something that today's dual-stick shooters would probably laugh at. But Rare made it work. The game's control scheme introduced an aiming system that allowed players to fine-tune their shots with precision, something that felt surprisingly smooth for the time. This laid the foundation for future console shooters, proving that first-person shooters didn't have to be exclusive to a keyboard and mouse. But GoldenEye wasn't just revolutionary because of its controls. It brought something to shooters that was rarely seen before: depth. Most FPS games back then were simple: run, shoot, survive. GoldenEye added layers of complexity with mission-based gameplay. Instead of just mowing down enemies, players had objectives: destroy this, rescue that, hack into this. Every mission felt like a scene out of a Bond movie, making the campaign way more engaging than just blasting through enemies. This approach influenced countless shooters that came after it, particularly games like Halo and Call of Duty, where objectives became just as important as the firefights themselves. And then, of course, there was the multiplayer. This is where GoldenEye truly cemented its legacy. Four-player split-screen battles were nothing short of legendary. Whether you were arguing over screen peeking, banning Oddjob for being way too short to hit, or racing to grab the golden gun, GoldenEye's multiplayer was the definition of pure chaotic fun. It showed developers just how important multiplayer could be, paving the way for console FPS games to embrace competitive modes in a way that would later explode with games like Halo and Call of Duty. GoldenEye also brought something else to the table that was rare for its time: stealth. Sure, blasting through levels was always an option, but the game actually rewarded you for playing smart. Silenced weapons, security cameras, guards reacting to sound. These weren't common mechanics in FPS games back then, but GoldenEye made them a key part of the experience. This influence can be seen in games like Perfect Dark, Metal Gear Solid, and even modern stealth-based shooters. So why is GoldenEye 007 still remembered today? Well, because it wasn't just good for its time, it was ahead of its time. It set a new standard for console shooters, proved that FPS games could work outside of a PC, and laid the groundwork for nearly every shooter that followed. If you've ever played Halo, Call of Duty, or any modern FPS, you owe a huge thanks to GoldenEye for proving that console shooters could not only work, but thrive. If you're feeling nostalgic, dust off your old N64 and fire up a round of GoldenEye. Or if you're lucky enough to have access to one of its modern re-releases, give it a go and see for yourself why it's still so beloved. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of gaming's greatest shooters, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more, and let me know in the comments. What are your favorite GoldenEye memories? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.